Assalamualaikum guys, mani gayam paktadin sa aming channel sa YouTube Fun and Talk. I am Zahid.
I'm Ali. Welcome to our YouTube channel Fun and Talk. Today we are reacting our video. This video is from Philippines.
Before we start our reaction, make sure you turn that thumb things down there blue, which means hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, and then turn on notification bell.
Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook page.
Sunda mo kami sa Instagram and Facebook page.
You guys tell us what your favorite TV serial in the Philippines. Tell in comments what you like and what you love to watch on TV, and tell us our comments, our videos comments, and we love to read it. And today we are reacting our video. There's a video about Philippine geography, and there's an amazing video. You guys tell us in comments, and we really love to react your recommendation in this comment box, and go and type it what you want to react next video. We definitely make for you guys.
Let's start reaction.
Asia, the Philippines is like the jolliest of them all. They're just happy, fun, jolly people. And you know what? It's been 3 years. I'm not taking this anymore. I've been pushed around, I've been threatened, I've been thrown in the dungeon, I've been the butt of all the jokes. I'm the Filipino one. This is my time.
Wow.
Wow, my time. Oh,
What they do?
Welcome to the Philippines.
Welcome to Philippines.
It's time to learn geography now! Hey everyone,
Geography.
I'm Ken, and as you know, I'm half Filipino. Years ago, I was looking for a job and I saw this ad asking for a motion graphics animator on Craigslist. Paul and I literally met up at a Jollibee for my interview. He said I was his top 3 candidates. In reality, there were only 3 candidates that applied, so technically I didn't lie, but yeah, the other 2 people kind of sucked, so yeah. Oh, and back then, I had this weird mustache and Paul's hair was basically this thing.
Wow,
Ken and I have been talking for a
2016.
long time, and we agreed Ken definitely has to be in this episode. You've come so far from that Craigslist Jollibee interview. You've earned this. Thanks. Handa na? Magsimula.
Let's go.
And then
The Philippines is an interesting country because there's sort of a dichotomy between labels. If you ask a Filipino if they consider themselves Asian or Pacific Islanders, you might get contrasting answers. What do you consider yourself, Ken? I always thought Pacific Islanders sounded kind of cool, so I usually stuck with that. So first of all, the Philippines is a tropical archipelago of over 7,000 islands, about
Yeah,
2,000 of which
I
are
know.
inhabited, and it is the largest island nation without any land borders or shared island territory with another nation. The country is located in Southeast Asia, straddling the Philippine Sea in the north, the South China Sea in the west, and the Sulu and Celebes Sea in the south. Just a skip away lies the island of Borneo, which is split amongst 3 nations, at the closest point only about 22 miles or 40 kilometers away from the nearest island that belongs to the Philippines. Now, in general, many people will refer to one of the 3 main island cluster regions that people are a part of. There are Luzon in the north, where you can find the capital Manila, and where half of the population lives, Visaya in the center, and Mindanao in the south. Otherwise, the nation is made up of 17 regions, one of which is autonomous, the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao. This place has a high level of self-rule and autonomy appointed by the government. We'll explain more about this later. If you want to be absolutely technical, Quezon City, a bit north of Manila, is the largest city in the Philippines. However, the surrounding 16 towns and cities
Manila
by
is the
Manila
largest
are called
city
Manila
of
Metro,
Philippines.
or the National Capital
And
Region,
it is
and
the
they basically
capital
act as
of
one
the
unit. Otherwise, the
Philippines.
largest city outside of the NCR are Davao City in Mindanao
Yeah.
and Cebu in the Visayas. Manila has the largest and busiest airport, Ninoy Aquino International Airport, which is basically the hub that services the entire NCR. They also have the busiest shipping port at the Port of Manila. Otherwise, the second largest
shipping
airport
port.
is Cebu Mactan International.
That's
and
amazing.
rounding up for 3rd place is Davao City Francisco Bangoy International. In terms of land transport, though, the Philippines is well connected amongst the islands. In fact, the longest highway is the Pan-Philippine Highway that stretches about 3,500 kilometers across the country and connects Luzon, Samar, Liet, and Mindanao with underground tunnels connecting them. Finally, the Philippines has only 2 territorial disputes: the state of Sabah in Malaysia on North Borneo. The territory once had been part of the Sultanate of Sulu, a Muslim state that existed the 15th century to the 20th century, and that's a whole other story. As for the other dispute, as we mentioned quite a few times already,
That's
this
amazing.
whole area
We
known
don't
as the
know about
Spratly
that.
Islands is a complete mess. If you don't know anything about this place, it basically goes like this.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. This is the map showing what everyone claims in the area. This big one
China,
right here is
Philippines,
China. It's
Malaysia,
like, yeah, they just kind of pretty
Vietnam,
much went
and
for all of it.
This has even led to a
Brunei.
few skirmishes between nations that have built patrol stations on the island. And when they spawn a ship that gets too close, things can get kind of ugly.
It's kind of like this.
Hey, what are you doing? This is my area.
I'm just
Haha.
doing some
This is
fishing
my
and
area.
research here, you know?
Why do you have a shovel then?
China
Are you
and-
building something? Or?
Well, technically there's no land protruding from this reef, so there's no land claim.
So you're just gonna build your own land.
For research.
Anyway, here are some notable spots of interest.
Fort
Wow.
Santiago,
Magellan's Cross,
San Agustin Church,
Sagada Hanging Coffins,
Aguilado Shrine,
Cebu's
Wow.
Philippine Taoist Temple,
Shrine of Mama Mary in Tagaytay,
the Lapu-Lapu
Tagaytay.
Shrine,
Luneta Park,
MacArthur Landing Site,
Banawi Rice Terraces.
the Malacanang Palace,
Wow.
Beyond has many historical and colonial
Wow.
buildings,
the various national museums of history and arts,
tons of amusement parks,
and that's not even including all the natural wonders of the Philippines. They
Wow.
have
Wow.
an underground river.
the most
Wow.
amazing, beautiful
Underground
beaches
Wow,
in the
underground
universe.
river.
Wow,
Hills
that was
look like
amazing.
lumps of chocolate.
And there's an
Chocolate
island in a
hills.
lake, in an island, in a lake, in an island.
Haha.
You should hang out sometime.
Yeah,
Canadian.
when you have 7,000 tropical islands on a volcanic archipelago, chances are things can get pretty crazy landscape-wise. Which brings us to
Wow.
the actual physical land of the Philippines
Physical
is the
land.
biggest treasure you will find here for sure. Anyway, the Philippines lies on the Ring of Fire and is specifically on a tectonic plate named after them, the Philippine Plate.
And about 95% of the land is made up of the 11 largest islands.
The country was essentially formed through the tectonic activity between the Philippine, Manila, and the Mindanao Trenches, the Mindanao being the second deepest in the world.
This makes the country susceptible to small earthquakes and minor volcanic activity.
About 53 active volcanoes can be found in all of these largest islands, except for Palawan. The most famous and picturesque of these include these three.
See this island here, Camiguin? It actually has more volcanoes than towns on it. 7 versus 5, making it the place
Wow.
with the most number of
That's
volcanoes per
amazing.
square kilometer in the world.
In fact, the tallest peak in the Philippines is a potentially active
53
volcano, Mount
volcanoes,
Apo,
wow.
located in the South
That's
Mindanao
amazing.
area.
The country has numerous mountain ranges and highlands that dip into the fertile valleys. The
Volcano
largest
and
range
very
being the
dangerous.
Cordillera Range in the North Luzon area, hooking into the Sierra Madre Range on the east side, which feeds the longest river of the country, the Cagayan, that flows into the Cagayan Valley.
This valley, along with the central Luzon Valley, are the largest arable croplands and produce nearly all of the rice in the Philippines.
The
Wow.
Visayas are known for
Rice.
growing the most sugarcane, whereas Mindanao specializes heavy in coconut and fruit production.
Back in Luzon,
Yeah,
though, you can find
coconut
the largest
production.
lake in the country, Lake Laguna de Bay,
Second
which is
largest
actually in the caldera of a dormant
production
volcano.
The lake has a weird
Philippines.
detached island called Talim and is actually drained by the Pasig River that flows through the capital, Manila.
And finally, the country is the heart of typhoon territory. They can come at almost any time of the year. The nation will experience on average about 20 of the turbulent storms annually, which often flood to their many river systems. But yeah, if anything, Filipinos are the most cyclone-adapted people on Earth. They're used to it. The water has always been
Right.
kind of their thing. Swimming, sailing, fishing.
Just not exactly quite diving into it.
Otherwise, the Philippines is one of the 17 mega-diverse nations on Earth.
They actually have the largest
Whoa.
level of marine biodiversity in the world within their waters and the highest rate of animal discovery on the planet, with 16 new mammal species that were discovered in the past decade alone.
They have
Wow.
everything from
The longest snake in the world, the reticulated python.
the largest
Wow.
fish in the world, whale
Wow.
sharks.
7 of the 8 known species of giant
Amazing.
clam are found in the Philippines.
The world's smallest hoofed animal, the Philippine mouse deer.
And the
Wow,
national
mouse deer.
bird is the largest eagle in the world.
Economically
Whoa.
speaking, the Philippines is considered a newly industrialized nation. It is transitioning out of becoming an agricultural-based system to a service and manufacturing-based one. They have like 3 of the top 10 largest malls on Earth.
Ooh,
just
just
you
you wait. I'm taking the top spots.
Wow.
They're one of the fastest growing economies in Asia, and as the 34th largest economy in the world, their GDP purchasing power parity has surpassed the $2 trillion mark.
Basically, the
Wow.
Philippines is definitely becoming a key power player in the world stage. It's like,
Wow.
We're so rich.
Oh, four Asian tigers.
someday. For what it's worth, though, mining, fishing, and agriculture are strong industries as well. They are currently the world's largest nickel and abaca or Manila hemp producers and the second largest coconut producer after
Yeah, of
Indonesia.
course.
Tourism,
Like
though,
in-
is another important industry, taking up about 8% of their GDP, employing over 3 million people.
And now, food. Now, Now, in the Philippines,
food.
every region has their own specialty and culinary strange.
Yeah, every dish looks like a fairy exploded.
Lots of dishes you can eat kumakain kamay, or eat with your hands.
Yeah, pretty much everything has rice, and then you're
So
gonna get
tell
a lot
us,
of grease,
what
and
is your
salt and
favorite
vinegar, and
food?
a lot of like, I don't care if that looks like it goes there or not. I'm still gonna eat it anyway, right, Ken?
Yeah, that's Filipino food.
Yeah.
There's really
Filipino
no official
food.
national dish, but three meals that are well known for are adobo, lumpia, and sinigang.
And in the non-Muslim parts, lechon is a huge deal.
There are also dishes like
Tagalog steak,
tinola,
pansit luglug,
kare-kare,
sigstig,
tapsilog,
balut,
kinilaw.
and my favorite Filipino dish, palabok. Just put some nice little lemon juice on it.
Wow.
I actually got this at Jollibee.
Jollibee.
You don't know what Jollibee is? It's like the most popular fast food chain in the
Of
Philippines.
course.
It's like if McDonald's and
Jollibee
KFC
is
adopted a
good.
Filipino baby, and they even added
Yeah.
spaghetti to their menu for some reason.
Otherwise, Filipinos are dessert experts. They love their ube everything, ube ice cream, ube bread,
Wow.
ube pie,
Wow.
ube cakes.
Oh, they also have like sapin, and cassava cakes. Those are the best desserts in my opinion.
They also have halo-halo, leche flan,
Halo halo.
Oh.
buko pandan, and puto. What you call me? If you're either Latin American or Spanish, you may notice some of those foods are also found in Latin cuisine. And there's a reason for that.
Yeah, we'll explain that in... Now, only in the Philippines can you find people that have Spanish names, speak English, celebrate an Austronesian culture,
Wow.
and cook Chinese.
General MacArthur once said, "Give me a
Wow.
thousand Filipino
Chinese.
soldiers, and I will conquer the world."
Yeah, for some reason, Filipinos are like the best friends of Asia.
Yeah,
Filipinos
of
still have the
course.
best attitudes and
Friends.
smiles. They even give time off felony sentences if the prisoners volunteer to take part in a Michael Jackson dance performance to the public.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. First, the graph. The country is
Wow.
about 110 million people and is the 8th most populated country in Asia and the 12th most populated country in the
Wow.
world.
There are
Wow.
about 175
Of
ethno-linguistic
course,
people groups
I
in
know,
the
it's
Philippines, the majority
175
of whose languages are
languages.
Austronesian.
Wow, that's
Of these
amazing.
groups, the largest ones are the Tagalog at about 28%, 13% are Cebuano, 9%
Wow.
are Ilocano, and
Wow.
8% are Bisaya. The rest are made up of
Wow.
other groups plus a small minority of non-native citizens, mostly
Wow.
Asians and Americans.
It's important to note, though, that the Philippines has about 10.2 million people overseas worldwide. It is one of the
Wow.
largest diaspora populations,
Amazing.
spanning over 100 countries. The U.S. alone has about 4 million.
I mean, they were at one point colonized by the
Wow.
U.S., so go figure.
They use the Filipino peso as their currency, they use the types A, B, and C plug outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road.
Oh, and keep in mind the word Pinoy is synonymous with something that is Filipino. You might see that used a
Pinoy.
lot.
Now back to the ethnic groups thing. Since there are over 175 of them, you would think...
Yeah,
how
because
do they
in
all
too many
communicate?
videos
Well, the
only type
Philippines has two
Pinoy.
official
Yeah, of
languages.
course.
English, which makes it the 5th most English-speaking nation on Earth, and Filipino, which is the standardized version of Tagalog. The Philippine
Tagalog.
Tagalog language spoken
Tagalog.
today is a very different from pure Tagalog. It actually has about 14% Spanish, 10% Malay, and 7% English mixed into it with a slew of other borrowed loanwords. You can see the influence in words like
Wow.
pintelador, guapo, zapatos, and familia. Often, Filipinos will substitute an F with a P,
Or a V with a B.
or a V with a B.
Yeah, same with Koreans, actually. Yeah. High five with
Really?
minimal consonants.
Yay!
Oh,
Yeah.
and fun fact, Ken taught me this. In Tagalog, you can actually say an entire conversation just using the syllable ba. For example,
Ba, ba ba, ba ba, ba ba ba, ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba.
Wow.
Ah,
ba 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 ba.
Ba ba ba.
Well, that was
Ba, ba,
fun.
ba.
Otherwise,
Ba, ba,
in
ba,
Visayas
ba,
and
ba.
Mindanao
Oh, wow,
areas,
the one word
Malay
that too
language
many
is close to
meanings.
other regional tongues like Waray and Daboeno.
They even have the only Spanish-based Creole in Asia, Chabacano, located in Zamboanga City. Now, the Philippines is unique in that over a past few centuries, they've gone through 3 periods that shaped their identity.
Before European intervention, the Philippines has had a multitude of early civilizations that
Wow.
built kingdoms and dynasties like the Tondo, the Namayan, the Pangasinan, and the Sulu Sultanate.
Many
Wow.
of these kingdoms had
That's
their own
amazing.
indigenous
Yeah, of
writing
course.
systems, such as the Babayan, Buhid, Eskayan, and Kulitan.
Genetically, Filipinos are classified as belonging to the broader Austronesian people group, with their closest cousins
Wow.
being the Micronesians, like the Mariana Islanders, Guam, and Palau.
Although over the years, many people have mixed, and today it is speculated that somewhere around 1/5 or more of the population may have some kind of Chinese ancestry. After the Spanish came in, they adopted many of the customs, traditions, and cultural traits which have Spanish roots. Their own country is named after Spanish King Philip. The biggest
Wow.
trait, though, would be the fact that they are predominantly Catholic, at about 81% of the population adhering to the faith.
The rest are mostly Protestant, with a small Muslim minority in the South Mindanao area.
The Philippines is the largest Christian nation in Asia, 5th largest Christian nation on Earth, and 3rd
Wow.
largest Catholic nation after Brazil and Mexico.
They have so many holidays
That's
and
amazing.
festivals devoted to Catholic themes like All Saints Day, Holy Week, and Easter, and of course, the largest one, Christmas.
The Philippines has the longest Christmas season out of anywhere else on Earth.
Oh,
Okay, so now
yeah,
we're just gonna
I
rapid
really-
fire
yeah.
a list of
I
12
really
fun
know
cultural
that,
facts for the
fact
Philippines.
about
Filipinos have a
Philippines.
ton of superstitions. For
Philippines.
example,
Start
whistling at night will
from
turn you into a
September.
werewolf.
For formal occasions, you may see Filipinos wearing traditional barongs for men
Filipinos.
and Maria Clara or mestiza dresses for women.
There are many other traditional costumes and customs for the other 170 ethnic groups.
Yeah.
Too many to cover, but it goes everywhere from feathers, coconut fibers, hair dresses, tribal tattoos, and so on.
Speaking of which, the Philippines dominates major international beauty pageants with a grand total of 15 victories at the Miss Universe, Miss World, Miss
Whoa.
International, and Miss Earth competitions.
Basketball and boxing are the most popular sport
Yeah,
by
of course.
far. They have the
Boxing.
oldest basketball league in Asia and the
Boxing,
second oldest in
legend.
the world after the United States. And come on,
Manny
we all know
Pacquiao.
Pacquiao.
The
Is that
Philippines is the leading nation
famous
to train and export nurses abroad. It's been
boxing?
said at one point, every Filipino has their should I just drop everything and become a nurse moment in their life crisis.
That's a fact.
Yeah, of course.
And the word balikbayan means returner or returning family. It is used when someone comes back from expat work abroad.
You might hear the honorific title of Pol or Opal for elders, and a lot of people often raise the backs of the hands of their elders to their forehead as a sign of respect and say, bless.
In the Philippines, you have your name and you have your Pinoy nickname, and they get really weird and creative. Pepsi, Bing Bong, Jelly Boy, Pinky, Bum Bum, and Earl.
Every Filipino on every island
Wow.
and every region can tell you.
What your
Filipinos are
nickname?
obsessed
Tell in
with
comments.
Karaoke. The first karaoke
We'll have
machine was
to know.
actually patented by a Filipino, Roberto del Rosario, even though some Japanese dude invented it, but he patented it.
Obviously, that means music is a big deal in the Philippines. Besides taking modern cues from American pop, they also have traditional styles. Instruments include things like gudyapi, kilitang, gimbal, kubing, and tonggali.
In addition, there are many different styles of dance, but the most famous one considered the national dance is tinikling, a dance done between two pairs of
Tinikling.
perpendicular bamboo poles that are clapped together as percussion tools, and the dancers
Wow.
must weave their feet in and out in the spaces before getting hit or tripped.
Now, on a bit of a more objective
That's
note, we do
amazing
have
and
to talk about
really dangerous look.
The Philippines is beautiful, but if you've been keeping up with current events, they do have their fair share of issues that have made headlines. We don't sugarcoat everything here.
Human trafficking, whether in the sex industry, slavery, or organ smuggling, has been a problem in certain areas. And even though anti-trafficking acts have been passed by the government, enforcement has not always been on par.
The drug trade
Yeah.
has also been a major inconvenience for decades, affecting millions of people in the country. This has led to the new controversial laws instituted by President Duarte, which encouraged the public to seek bounty in exchange for hunting down drug pushers. Many have died in the process.
And finally, you have the Moro conflict, an insurgency in the predominantly Muslim Mindanao region, which sought to take parts of eastern Malaysia and break away through conflict. The fight has been going on for nearly half a century, and now it's just ending at the turn of the 21st century.
Yeah, kind of.
For what it's worth, though, in the Philippines, everyone is family at the end. You don't have to be related to anyone to call someone ate or kuya. There's even a word, bayanihan, which means something like helping one another through community spirit without expecting anything in return. In any case, we gotta finish off this segment with history.
Austronesians.
Tribal
Ah,
kingdoms
history.
and sultanates.
This guy came to the islands.
Catholicism comes in.
Lapu-Lapu and Magellan
Wow.
dies in battle.
Wow.
5 Spanish dudes followed through.
They finally become a colony of Spain.
The galleon trade.
Wow.
British Philippines.
And then back to Spain. The Treaty of Paris.
Philippine Revolution.
The Spanish-American War.
First Philippine Republic. Philippine-American War.
American occupation.
World War II, Japan invades.
American pushes them back.
Finally, Philippine independence.
Ferdinand
Wow.
Marcos turned from president to dictator.
Martial law.
This guy gets killed because he was against the regime.
People Power Revolution in 1986.
Growth from agricultural society to an industrial one.
And here we are today. And now we finish off with the notable famous people condensed. Some famous people you guys, the Pinoy geography suggested we mention in this episode include
Lapu-Lapu.
Jose Rizal, these two saints,
Melchora
Wow.
Aquino.
Manuel L. Quezon,
Lacandulo.
Wow.
Josefa
That's too
Yanes
many
Escoda.
people.
And Vicente Lim.
Carlos Peña Romulo.
And all the Miss Universe winners.
Ah,
And there's a ton
wow.
of Americans
Ah.
with Filipino or partial Filipino descent.
Yeah, you can see there's lots of American Filipinos. Those two get along pretty tight.
We'll explain more on how that happened in...
Wow.
Ah,
Because of the long
Thank you.
history in the Philippines being colonized by 2 major Western powerhouses, it would make sense that it would have ties with the outside world in many different ways.
For friends, the Philippines is generally close with all the ASEAN nations and does great business with them, particularly Indonesia and Malaysia, their closest neighbors.
The Marshall Islands, Palau, and the federal states of Micronesia are all cousin countries, many of which have Filipino migrants in them, and they all share the same history
Wow.
of being former U.S. territories and U.S.-influenced states.
Of course, Spain will always be in the back of their minds as the former colonizer that they gained much influence from. Although Filipinos are not considered Latino, the Spanish and many Latin Americans kind of see them as like the adopted Asians that totally fit in their family. It's like, come on, you're Catholic, you eat flan, every 5th word you speak is Spanish, you're basically one of us.
Interestingly enough, the relationship with Mexico has historically been always strong. The Philippines was ruled under a Mexico-based viceroyalty of New Spain. The Manila galleons were Spanish trading ships, which for 2.5 centuries linked the Philippines with Mexico across the Pacific Ocean, making 1 or 2 round-trip voyages per year earlier between the ports of Acapulco and Manila. And Mexican traditions were brought in like the Day of the Dead and Champorado.
When it comes to their best friends, however, most Filipinos would probably say, even though colonial years were a little bit bumpy, ultimately the USA and South Korea.
South Korea was one of their closest best friends from the 20th century on. World War
Wow.
II really bonded with them after the Japanese
That's
occupation
wow.
years, and they
Korea.
supported each other diplomatically.
Koreans are the top #1 tourist demographic that visit the Philippines. Koreans kind of admire the fact that even though they were both influenced by the U.S., Filipinos speak better English, whereas Filipinos practically obsess over Korean products and media.
Oh, us.
That's why we're
For the
wow.
USA, ties were close ever since they became their colony in 1898. The U.S. also had the largest number of overseas Filipinos at over 4 million, most of whom live on the West Coast states like Hawaii and California. They are one of the oldest Asian partners of the U.S. They have a mutual defense treaty, and they are the largest export partner and second
Wow.
largest import after China.
American pop culture dominates much of the youth influence. Hollywood studios love filming there, and Gallup
Wow.
polls have shown that the USA is favored on average by over 90% of the people asked, making it one of the most pro-American countries on the planet. And
Your opinion about our reactions and our videos, and also subscribe our channel.
Yeah, also subscribe our channel, and this video have too many things, and there's a really enjoyable video, and we really love it.
So let we meet in next video. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Peace.
Hey.